Hey everybody, welcome to Biztainment Weekly, where you get all the 411. I think it's 411. It's definitely not 911. Anyways, you get all the information here in Hampton Roads, Norfolk, Virginia, going across the country, and we're super excited for our show today. But I have to mention, Magazine Jukebox is our sponsor, doing business as Rethink Jukebox. We're super excited to be teamed up with them. A little biased. I am one of the co-founders of that company, and I just absolutely am glad to be back in the studio. But we have an amazing guest here. Lauren Roberts Carter is on the show. Hey, Lauren.
Hey.
It's super easy to remember your name just because my name is Lauren, so that's really cool. But before we dive into everything about you, we have to go into what I like to call our LinkedIn moment. And our LinkedIn moment is probably one of my most favorite times of the show because I'm always typically I can't say always typically, let's just say always positive. And I like to talk about positive posts going on LinkedIn. So here we go. So I follow this guy. His name's Ethan Liu. He's an entrepreneur, investor, and an innovator. And this one's super short, super sweet. And this goes a shout out to all the startups. And it says Startups 101. You can't improve what you don't measure. That is so true. As a founder myself, I know that we have to measure everything. And sometimes you have to look at how you are quantifying things. And sometimes the raw numbers don't give the full story. Sometimes you have to actually create the narrative to make sure that the right information is getting out. If I say sometimes one more time, just go ahead and fire me as a host. Okay. And now next, my good friend Lisa Shapiro up there in Northern Virginia, she said, join me, friends and family, for the 2023 American Heart Association Greater Washington Region Heart Walk in November. Who wants to join our super fun team? Everyone knows I look best in red. Join us Saturday, November 4th, 2023. Walk starts at 10 a.m. How cool is that? Hey, Lisa, good job. Keep up the good work. We'll get the word out, and hopefully we can get more people on your team. All right, everybody, you heard the word. Now you need to go look it up and check it out and get in contact with Lisa. Get on that team. Help out with the American Heart Association. Okay, awesome. Well, hey, now the most important time of the show is about our guest. Hey, Lauren, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you.
Super excited to have you. And just to give some backdrop here to our listeners, Lauren here is the VP, that means Vice President of Marketing and Communications over there at our Hampton Roads Chamber. We are proud members of, and love being a part of that ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
And but thank you so much for being on the show. We are excited to have you, and I can only imagine as things are gearing up for people getting all their kids back to school and all that fun stuff. I could just imagine how busy and hectic it's been. So Lauren, how are you?
I am great, Scott. I'm happy that the skies are clearing out here a little bit in Hampton Roads. It was a little wet this morning. Glad to see a little pinch of sun.
It was. That's absolutely correct. However, it's been blistering hot. So
Yep.
We are over it. We're ready for fall. I think the consensus is like, hey, fall, come on, bring it on.
Yes,
Summer's over. So although my kids are not ready to shut down the pool yet, so
yeah,
they got about another month or so, I think. But I'm excited for them to get back to school. That's when mom and dad do like high fives and all right, let's go out and have some breakfast. Let's go do some shopping.
Yeah, now the real fun begins, right?
And more likely, my Lauren, because my wife's name is Lauren,
Mm-hmm.
she will say something like, yeah, that would be cool and all, but let's go and purge all the toys that are not being played with and start clearing house. So Lauren, so tell us what's going on over at the chamber. I'm sure tons of things are going on. So
Yeah, we are keeping busy. Summer tends to be a little bit quieter for us, which is great. It's a lot of working on projects and just different things like that. But our fall calendar is bananas, but in a good way, bananas. There are all kinds of different events coming up with everything from just mix and mingle meetups with members we have a big business to business social coming in September. And we're doing a lot of legislative events as well. We just did the senatorial forum on Monday, and we have a legislative reception coming up in September. So the list is long, the calendar is full, but it's all good stuff.
How in the world do you keep up with all that? You guys, how many employees are with the chamber?
So we, including affiliates, have just a little bit over 20 employees. That also includes our volunteer Hampton Roads team and our SBDC team. So altogether, we're just a little bit over 20 of us. But yeah, there's a lot of organization that needs to happen in order for us to be as functional as we are with all of these events. We put on, I think, right around 180 events a year. So
Good.
I know.
Barely put on like one event a year, let alone 180. So like is a requirement when people apply to work for the chamber? Is it, okay, what's your superpower? We need to know what that is. Like, well, like Lauren Carter is super, she's Wonder Woman, and then you have someone else that says, well, I'm Flash, so I can get things done quickly.
And then like we have to have folks that are hyper organized. So if your superpower is super organization, then come on over, we need you. A lot of attention to detail over here, fast paced, people, because we're in front of people all the time. So I think we have a couple different superpowers per person over here.
So let's get into a little bit of the weeds here about chamber, and what does the chamber do for local businesses and community?
Yeah, so we're setting the conditions for businesses in Hampton Roads to be successful. And we're working on that every single day. Every single member of our staff is doing that in some fashion. We want Hampton Roads, the region, to be the place that people want to start a business like Magazine Jukebox. We want people to move their businesses here. We want people to open up their headquarters. We want small business, big business. We want all of it. So we're always working along with many of our regional partners to make sure that this area is where businesses will be successful. We do that in a lot of different ways, from our programming of those 180 events that we have a year. They range in size from maybe a 20 or 25 person get together panel style event to our large state of the city events, which are over 1,200 people, where you hear from the mayor. We've had the governor keynote our events. So we're all about the business community, making sure that this area is the place for business.
Well, I'm pretty fond of Norfolk, especially. I mean, my wife and I would live in Hampton Roads. We're in Suffolk, but all part of the Hampton Roads community. And it's funny you mentioned the governor. I'll tell you a funny story. So I was up at Chickateague Island, which is about 3.5 hours from here. And for those who don't know the Chickateague Island, yes, there's a book called The Chickateague Pony, I think it is. And from what I understand from my wife, like all young ladies read that book as a kid. Like that's rite of path that comes with. And so it's really neat. They have all these wild horses that they have to get across. They have to get them all vaccinated and make sure that they're all healthy. And then they do an auction because you can only have so many horses on the island, and then they send it back. But anyways, the funny story is I'm wearing this T-shirt. We go to the fair and had no idea that the governor was going to be there. No clue. And my shirt I would say is a little less than appropriate. So I wouldn't want that shirt next to the governor, taking a picture with him. But I was darned if I didn't get a chance to just thank him, because he did a press release on Magazine Jukebox a couple months ago. And I was like, I've got to meet him. So here I am. I'm surrounded by his Secret Service or whatever they call him now. There's security. And I said, look, I don't want you to be alarmed, but I'm going to take my shirt and turn it inside out. So I don't want you what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
And I said, because if I'm going to meet him and talk to him, then I want it to be appropriate pictures. And I definitely don't want, and it just had a funny comment on there that it's just not appropriate for the office. So I get up there, I get to meet him, super nice guy, Mr. Glenn Youngkin, get to meet his wife. And then I shared with him, I said, I just want to thank you for the press release. And he goes, oh, what's the name of your company? I said, Magazine Jukebox. And he goes, oh yeah, down in Norfolk. We've been watching you guys quite a bit. And I was just really cool to hear that, coming from the number one person of the state, recognizing,
Your
what we're doing.
work.
So
Yeah.
it's cool that you guys work with them and worked with governors in the past, and
Yep.
we'll be working with governors in the future. And so, yeah. Anyways, that was just a funny story. My wife was like,
Yeah,
"Of
that's
course you
cool.
would wear that shirt."
That's just how it happens, right? Of course.
Right, exactly. So now, like, the chamber has been really, really good to my company for sure. And but I'll be honest, like, full transparency, I've never
Yeah.
been associated with the Chamber of Commerce.
Mhm.
And I've had other companies that I've owned or sold, and was never a part of it. And I'll tell you, I made a big mistake, because my mistake was that I didn't join soon enough. You
Mhm.
guys really are super supportive when press comes out or we need to get something across the table. You guys are excellent at getting that out. And just
Mhm.
from the networking component of the
Yep.
chamber, and it's so important. To my listeners and viewers, especially those who are startups or in the weeds of growing a business, it can get real lonely.
Mhm.
Getting to the top, so to speak, can be lonely if you go by yourself.
Right.
And by having the chamber, you're able to really connect. And I'm looking forward to connecting more now that my kids are going back to school. It's been
Yeah.
a little hard over the summer, but
Yeah, those morning meetups come a little early when you got kids.
amen to that. So it's like, do I fight waking my kid up early, or do I make it to the meeting to network? And then it's like, then it's more like, hey, honey, I got to go to this networking event. She's like, heck, you do. You're there to help me get
No.
these kids out the door. So,
Yeah.
anyways, I appreciate the chamber and all that you guys have
Yeah.
done for us. And I was just thrilled to have, when I found out you wanted to be on the show, I was just thrilled to have you. So,
Oh, thank you.
what's next? What's coming up? What's on the, let's say, in the next 60-day pipeline?
Yeah. So we, again, like I said, fall calendar is pretty slammed. We have something really fun coming at the end of August. It's our golf tournament. I'm, of course, biased, but I think it is the most fun you will have on a golf course. Every single one of the holes is themed. We have sponsors for each one. So think food and beverage and games and just like really good, organized, fun chaos, we'll call it, because you are just having such a great time with your team as you go through each one. And we just have all kinds of different little surprises in store for this one. We have rebranded it as a fun theme. We're doing the All American Invitational.
Nice.
So you're going to see lots of red, white, and blue out there, some really fun games for your team to play. It's just going to be a really good time.
That's awesome. And I hopefully I can get there. We'll see what time permits. I'm trying to squeeze in one last camping trip before this month is over.
Yeah.
But my wife is like, well, where do you want to go? And I was like, she's like, you want to go back over to Chickateague? And I said, we just bought a new camper. And I said, no way. I'm not taking that thing across Chesapeake Bay Bridge right now.
Right. Yeah. Switching it up.
So give us what, because you're in marketing, and
Yeah.
a lot of our listeners are, they may not be in a position just yet to join the chamber. So how can they get involved? And then B, what are maybe some marketing tips that you can give to some of our listeners?
Yeah. So one of the really cool ways to kind of start to get involved in our universe or our ecosystem is actually to reach out to our SBDC. It's the Small Business Development Center of Hampton Roads. They happen to be our affiliate. They actually happen to be within our own office suite in downtown Norfolk, which is really cool. And they offer free small business services to anyone that's really kind of looking to build their business. Now, I say anyone, there's different qualifications and parameters and different things. But the great thing is that those services are funded through the localities, funded through the economic developments of the cities, federally, and the whole, shebang there. But it's a great way just to kind of start to get some services from the experts. And then as you become more established and you start to grow your business, you may decide to join something like the chamber. So that's just one of the really fantastic opportunities that we have out there for people. And you don't have to be a member of the chamber to take advantage of the resources from the Small Business Development Center. They're their own entity as well.
That's awesome. So for those of you listening or watching, like, understand that this is free.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
free is free. I don't
Right.
understand that free is free. And as a startup, take advantage, or even just a small business in general, take advantage of anything that you can grab free. I think the unfortunate part with the word free is that, we have desensitized a little bit, what free means. And I always use the analogy, like if you go out to the beach and you have $100 bill and you're on the boardwalk and you said, "Hey, you want a free $100?" 9 out of 10 people will say, "No, thanks. No, thanks,"
Mhm.
because they feel like, hey, that's going to be attached to some kind of string. But
Right.
truly, you guys are offering a free service because it's in also the chamber's best interest,
Absolutely.
and Small Business Administration, or SB
DC.
DC. There it is.
Mhm.
So, for SBDC, it's in their best interest that small businesses thrive and
Right.
grow. So they really do want to offer their service for free to truly help. And
We do. And the cool thing too, Scott, about what they're able to do and why the chamber is so proud to be able to partner with them is that they offer everything for businesses from you just need to develop a business plan. Like you are at the very beginning of your journey. You have an idea and you need to develop this plan. Or maybe you have a family business and you're like, we're done, we're retiring. Let me sell this thing off. I want to, head to a beach somewhere and never have to think about it again. They can help people that are doing those types of things as well. So, regardless of what stage a business is in, there are resources available. And again, free resources available, free resources from absolute experts in these industries that can help people. So sometimes it's not as well known as it needs to be, and we are excited to be able to shout out the great work they do.
yeah, and that's awesome. I, I, I'm sitting here thinking about like what you just said about a company wanting to sell, and so many times people start businesses and they never think of the end game. They always just
Right.
here and now, and so they have no idea the difficulties in selling a business,
Mm-hmm.
because it typically takes on a huge financial risk for a buyer. and,
Mm-hmm.
and while the seller may not have had any debt when they're selling the business, so it made the cash flow make sense, someone who's buying it has to go into some kind of debt, and then the
Right.
cash flow has to make sense for them to buy it with that debt. And so I always love this saying, I have it written on my wall, which says, an entrepreneur is a person who or organization and operates a business or businesses taking on greater than normal financial risk in order to do so. So
Mm.
it's a
I like it.
and it's just a reminder sometimes, like when I look at a a risk that I'm about to take on, like, okay, that's really earmarked for who I am in my core, which is an entrepreneur. But having these resources is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And it brought this, I was just thinking of, and I don't know if you know the story, but in Suffolk there was this farmers market and
Mm-hmm.
this restaurant, like it's I think it was called the Bennett's Creek Market, or maybe
Okay.
it's Suffolk Market. But this place was thriving. I mean, just absolutely thriving. The shelves were stocked. They had people would go there for lunches. Like, you can never find a parking space there. And
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden one day they just close the doors.
Wow.
No warning, no nothing. Close the doors, and then up on the sign, the building's for sale. And all that food that was in there, like, they gave no warning. So
Oh,
I don't even know what they ultimately did with all the food. And but I just think of, like, if they would have consulted with you all, then they could have maybe made a better transition, and I guarantee someone would have bought that market, because it was just it's when you see such a thriving business,
right.
it's hard to believe that you can't make it that much better.
Yeah.
And
No,
so,
that's so true.
but it seems to me maybe they didn't take. Anyways, that's speculation. I don't really know the answer, that to each their own. But it is nice to know that that service is out there.
Yeah.
And I will say that Lauren, and especially like the chamber, they know what they're talking about, because I had to fact check this and talk to Lauren about it. But one of the questions we always ask before the show is, hey, when was the chamber originated, or how long have you been in business, is the
Mm-hmm.
question, really. And it says, and she wrote in there, since 1801. Yes, that's
True.
1801. Like, and I said, you mean 1901? Like, was business even happening? Like, wasn't that like merchant ships and like pirate ships, and we were fighting a war of some sort? Like,
Yeah.
what the heck? So that was Really, really interesting. I had no idea you guys
Yeah,
were.
over 200 years the chamber has been in existence. And of course, we talked a little bit about how it's metamorphosized over the years. Of course, it's changed and now we're a regional entity and we're 5-star accredited, which is only 1% of chambers across the entire country. So
Wow.
a lot has changed over the years. But our mission, vision, and our values of making businesses successful in Hampton Roads has been the same for 200 years. So pretty
It's
cool.
it's not just pretty cool. It's amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, like that, to think about, to be in existence. Like, gosh, most businesses are lucky if they're open, for 5 years, let
Right.
alone 100 years, let alone 200 years.
Right.
Good.
Yep.
Okay. So, and one of the other questions we always ask is, tell us something most people don't know, or what you want our listeners to know. And you put in there, I'd love to talk about some of the programs the chamber has, which we've talked about,
Yeah.
and the many benefits we offer. So let's talk about some a little bit more of the benefits. Like
Yeah.
when someone signs up. So I say, and I think the sign up, and to our listeners, don't hold me to this. I don't know what the price is, but I think it's like somewhere between $300 and $500 or something like that to sign up as a business.
Yeah.
But
There's
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say there's several different levels. So we try to make it so that there's something for everyone.
Awesome. And so when they sign up, okay,
Mhm.
I sign up for the base package right now because I'm a
Yep.
new business. What happens?
So you go through kind of like an onboarding process. So we have member representatives. Actually, one of our member representatives, we're shouting this from the rooftop right now. She just hit the $1 million in sales
Wow.
within the chamber industry, and she just hit this massive milestone. But beyond that, she's incredible at connecting with her members. She will tailor what you say you want and need to the services that we're able to provide. So, right off the jump of becoming a chamber member, you now have access to come to our twice a month free events. That's a morning meetup and then a business social in the evening, 2 of them every single month. Then it gives you member pricing for all of those other 180 events that we have going on. Should you want to attend those, it gives you opportunities to do some advertisements. One feature that I love to talk about is our member news feature on our website because we love that word free. It's completely free. You can come and post a press release on our website in that section. You can come and post a announcement about some award that your business has won, or you can put something about like a grand opening or open house. It doesn't matter what it is. Your news is our news because our members are who we are. So that resource is there, and it's something that our members love to take advantage of. I know Magazine Jukebox has certainly used it as well.
Yeah, I remember going to some award banquet not too long ago where we won Top to Watch, which was super
Yep.
exciting, was not expected, and it's such a cool feeling. Now, I want to give out because you mentioned about networking. We've
Yep.
mentioned many times. So those of you listening, I'm going to give you some tips here on networking that I think all networkers need to not only know but implement. When you go to these networking events, don't snow the snowman. Okay. What I mean by that is don't go there with the intent to sell the people you're meeting. Your goal is to get to know the people,
Yep.
create a relationship, and then your hope is that they will open up their book of business to you and your company down the road. I'm not saying, hey, don't stop a business from happening, but so many times I've been to a networking event where someone comes up to me and says, hey, I'm so cool. Hey, this is what I do. Hey, here's my card. Call me. I would love to sell you my service or whatever it is.
Right.
And I'm like, this is, come here, get to know me. Let's build a relationship. It's why I do a lot of work on LinkedIn is it's to build relationships. And through that, that whole giver's gain mentality is like through that, being organic and authentic really goes so much further
Mm-hmm.
to snow the snowman here.
Yeah.
And so that is my biggest tip going to these networking events. Don't try to sell them. Just be you, authentically you,
Yes.
and you will win. You'll win
Yes.
the day. So
Yep. And don't think that you can just come once and that those connections are going to be formed in one setting. Sometimes, yes, of course, you've met some people and then you've connected with them after meeting them once. But coming consistently is my advice when you're able to consistently show up at networking events. See some of those same people that you're connecting with, remember their name, or at least, go up to them and reintroduce yourself, and then have that additional conversation with them. Doing that over time, you really form those connections.
Amen. And for those of you even like myself, I'm super busy. I have, my company we're building, my wife and I, we have 3 kids, and I can go on and on about other companies and investments that we have. And so it is really difficult. So what I do is I have designated one of my top employees to be able to go and represent the company, and that person is naturally a networker. And so Brian, I think you know Brian really well.
I know Brian, yes.
So I think everybody in Hampton Roads
I know.
Like everywhere we go, hey Brian, hey Brian, hey Brian. I'm like, who's that? Oh, this is Scott, my boss. Oh, we don't know who he is. Okay, so they, but no, he does a fantastic job. But
He does.
all right, Lauren. Well, look, I could go on for hours and hours being able to talk to you all about Chamber. You guys are doing some incredible things. Is there anything you want to make sure is out there? Anything we're missing?
No, one thing I want to share though is on kind of the topic of networking, but also on the topic of volunteering. So, for folks that are looking to maybe make a career switch or to start a business or to learn some type of new skill, there are so many great opportunities out there anymore. It's not the days of you have to go to school for that one thing that you want to do for the rest of your life. They have changed. Not that that's a bad thing either, but it has changed. So, I highly recommend getting involved with boards and committees and volunteer organizations. That personally led me to where I'm at today. I was involved with the Chamber's Young Professionals organization called Thrive. I learned some different skill sets that I would not have learned in the career field that I was previously in. And it led me to where I'm at. So don't ever be afraid to just kind of get involved in the community, because you will learn skill sets that, one, free. You don't have to pay for them. You're not going through a college course. You get to do it in real time, and you're doing it with, folks that you get to build relationships with. So pretty cool.
That is cool. It's awesome. And I can't agree more. Get involved, get plugged in.
Yep.
Learn new trades, and that whole, the old, go to college to make something of yourself. I have mixed feelings on that. My education ended at my junior year in high school, and but my wife, she has a master's from Liberty University, so we work together. So it's to each their own. But if you want to make a change, and it's funny, I just bring this up just because so many times people get caught up in what their age is, and that's why they don't want to make changes. Because not a lot of people even know this. Like Harrison Ford, for example, wasn't even a known actor until he was in his 40s. Crazy to think. It's not like he grew up in acting. In fact, I think he was a carpenter or something like that, and then tried out for some show, and that's how he.
And then now look at him.
So this show has been excellent. Lauren, you have been a great guest, and thank you for having such a simple name for me to always remember. And but you can't get out of here unscathed, because now is what we call our pick your poison moment.
Okay.
And this is when you have to choose which would you rather. Now, fair warning, have no idea what they are. I'm looking at them now, and some of them are super inappropriate that I gotta pull different ones. So I'm gonna do that right now. They oh my gosh, I'm getting all the bad ones right now. Okay. All right, here we go. I think I've got okay. All right, let's see. Okay, so would you rather be convinced that you're being stalked every time you leave your house? Ooh, that's scary.
Yeah.
Or shoplift at least one thing every time you enter a store?
Oh gosh.
That's horrible.
I know, right? I guess I will sign up to be stalked, but I'm not real sure that I want to do that. But
And You heard it first here, folks. Signed up. Sign me up. No, that's horrible. Those are bad ones. All right. Well, I'm just going to move on from that. Okay. Okay. And then, okay, here we go. This is your last one. Then you're off the hook. Okay. Be unable to throw anything away or be unable to chew with your mouth closed.
Oh, I guess because I'm in a position where I'm in front of people too much. I don't want to have to do that to them. So I'm going to have to go with collecting garbage.
Oh my gosh. I think I would go with the just have to chew with my mouth open.
Oh.
I know I can't stand it. Like, it drives me nuts. It irks me. But I think I would have to, because I think I would rather just maybe not eat. I don't know. Who knows? But well, like, Lauren, you have been an awesome guest. Thank you so much for all your time and all your wisdom. And for those of you trying to find Lauren, you can find her, of course, at the Chamber. They're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. The Twitter account is Chamber757, and so is Instagram. And then Facebook and LinkedIn is Hampton Roads Chamber. So make sure you do that. And we're just great to be partners with you, and we're excited for what the future comes, especially here in Hampton Roads. And thank you for all that you're doing. Tell your team we said keep being superheroes.
Will do.
And
thank you, Scott.
We'll see you here soon at one of these networking events.
That's for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. See you, Lauren.
Bye-bye.